Welcome back. Let's get to the big exclusive interview of the day. An announcement on new minimum support prices for kharif crops can be expected anytime this week or the next. Now, this is the word coming in from Rajiv Kumar, the Vice Chairman of the government think tank, the Niti Ayog. Now, Kumar, in a freewheeling conversation with Shereen, Bhan asserted that the government's objective when it came to the new MSP was to minimize fiscal burden while ensuring that farmers get the best deal. That's not all. Rajiv Kumar also gave his views on a CNBC TV18 news break that the state-run LIC was looking at picking up a majority stake in IDBI Bank. Kumar said that while acquiring stake in cash-strapped IDBI Bank was a call that only LIC's board could take, he did not feel that there was a problem with the deal as long as corporate governance norms were followed. He in fact went ahead and added that in hindsight, LIC's bet on IDBI Bank may turn out to be a good one.
Well, there are two separate parts here, points here. One is the announcement of the MSP itself, and I think that's about you should see that announcement within this week or the next week. I think those numbers and those estimates being done by the CACP, the Commission on Agricultural Costs and Prices, I think are ready and they would be announced. I suppose, as always, they are going through a final check on how the in the government as a whole. So that's first point, and I think there should not be much delay in that announcement. The second aspect, of course, is the government's own schemes for procuring at that MSP, because now the government has announced its intention very clearly in the budget that they will cover all 17 crops, all 23 crops under the MSP formula, and therefore the Niti Ayog had proposed 3 alternatives to that, and those have yet to be discussed in some detail, and I know that these discussions are
but it's been a while since the budget, Mr. Kumar. So that's what I'm trying to understand. Why is it taking so long? I'm also given to understand that perhaps the finance ministry has raised some concerns on the fiscal impact of the new MSP formula that the Niti had suggested, the 3 proposals that you had put forward. So has there been a revision that the Niti or the Agriculture Ministry has made post the finance ministry's feedback?
Yeah, if you had read it carefully, Shereen, the objections from the finance ministry, which I haven't seen formally, but I've read in the press, are about the 2 formulas that have been proposed, because the third actually wasn't discussed in some sense, and this is what so the finance ministry's own concerns, genuine concerns, plus the fact of some of the states wanting to have their views heard about the 3 different schemes is what is causing some complexity. It is a very complex situation, because and what we are trying to do from Niti is to re-look at all the 3 and figure out as to how we can minimize the fiscal burden while getting the best deal to the farmers. But the most important thing here is that the government is committed to giving the farmers the best deal possible, so that any complaint about procurement being less than what is needed or warranted shouldn't be there.
So how much longer, Mr. Kumar, before we actually see a decision and clarity on the new MSP regime? And ballpark, we are given to understand that the proposal that was sent to the finance ministry would have in fact meant an outgo of about 25 to 30,000 crore rupees. That was the ballpark that we were given to understand. Is that accurate?
I am not sure of that. I am not sure of that number. And to predicting how long anything will take in a government is like predicting the World Cup soccer World Cup results. So I'm not going to hazard that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I think it will be out so.
There has been a fair amount of criticism that why is the government pressing ahead with LIC picking up IDBI Bank? We are given to understand that there were perhaps at least 2 interested private sector players, but the government has chosen to go the LIC route. Why should the government saddle LIC with IDBI Bank that's saddled with a mountain of NPAs at this point in time is the question that most people are asking.
Well, I don't know whether you're right in saying that the government has posed the LIC. LIC, I suppose, has an independent board, and it's probably a board decision of the LIC. But even if I accept the fact that the government may have may have in some sense nudged the LIC to do so. I don't see any issues in that, because if there is surplus cash available in one of the government corporations which can be put to good use, if and if only the IDBI management is changed, and if only we have made sure that the governance, the corporate governance has been put on the right track, then we should be doing this, because I think this is a question of one company making a sort of a reasoned investment decision in the hope that it will make money going forward. Now I believe that the chairman and managing director of the IDBI has now been appointed.
Yeah.
He's somebody who's very who's a wonderful. I know he's one of the best professionals in the I think it's Sriram.
Yes.
Mr. Sriram,
yes.
Whom I've known in the SBI when I was on the board, and I think under his leadership you will find IDBI IDBI recovering and being put on the right track, and therefore, for all you know, just like Barack Obama did with his banks, LIC may have made a very good bet.
All right, that is the rationale by Niti Ayog on why the LIC deal makes sense for IDBI Bank. Let's move on now. After months of negotiations, Tata Steel and ThyssenKrupp Group have reached a definitive agreement to create Europe